Welcome, hello, Yasmin. Hi. My name is Ty Körner. Today's video is Obsession. Great. It is about how we work with entities, why it makes sense to work with entities, and probably you are already working with entities without even knowing. But that's another case. I will get onto this too. Um, it is basically about how I worked with them and what I can tell you about the benefits of working with them. Also the dangers and what you should take care on. Yeah, but before I get into this, make sure to subscribe the channel, and also I always tell that I'm a student of the Left-Hand Order Dragon Rouge, and I am an author and I'm an empath. Regarding the ordership, don't ask me. I'm not a speaker of the order. If you want to know more, follow the website. And if you want to know more about me, feel free to ask in the comments. If I can answer it, I will. So let's get into this. I think many of you already did percept the sensation of you're alone in a room, closed windows, closed doors, and anyways, you're standing there and feeling like there was something just rolling by and it was cold, and or that you're standing somewhere and you know exactly you are alone, but you have the feeling something is right behind you. This is no fake perception. We are not alone. We are basically living entities in a shell. So we are used to see physical bodies. We are used to validate our lives by the things we can see. But there is far more around. And there is far more around that does not even need a physical body. And these entities are entities you can work with. They may be on our plane, they may be on other planes, or even in other dimensions. So it depends on how you work with them, or if they found you, or if they just pass by. The first I did mean about perception is mostly that they pass by and you just recognize them. By the way, this also can happen if you just walk by a portal or cross an energy stream existing. You can feel it. So, but why should we work with entities? And how do I claim that most of you already do? It is in the magician circles. It's not the question if you're working with entities. It's a usual way of working. But to other people who are maybe in a religion that does not really allow magic practitioners, um, they have other pictures for it. And it is still the same if they say they are inspired of the Holy Spirit, or if they are speaking from a guardian angel supporting them, or if they say there is a spirit animal around, or if you say there is a family spirit supporting. It is basically the description of an entity without a physical shell. In magician circles, it is usual to either connect to entities which are around you. So if you do a ritual, for example, based on natural magic, nature magic, then you would call forth entities which are connected to a certain space where you are doing your ritual, or about human who were living there in the past, you would connect to the soil there where you're working. Um, if you're working in a black magician way, you also call forth on demon and other entities like this. And but a few, I really only know but a few who can do so, but a few even do it to cross the borders and to work with entities which are far beyond our scope of understanding, which are far, far away from our plane, which are indeed in another dimension. And if I say other dimension, I mean you got a frequency. To put it on a very scientific way, you have a frequency, and there are frequencies that are quite alike, and so they can easily understand each other. This I would say about entities who are existing on our planes. If you cross the border to other planes, so let's say the fine matter surroundings around our existence, they are close to us, but not that close as the entities who are on our plane. And then there are entities which are even more far away, which are in another dimension, literally, and they can have a frequency what is really totally different to us. And sometimes it might even appear toxic, because just if you see on our mundane plane, um, if you would pick up a rock of uran, you probably die on that, because the frequency, the energy of this material is the total opposite to what your body is sending out. So it destroys your body structure. And on an energy level, you can meet entities which have this different frequency. If you just run by and throw yourself into this energy, it could dissolve you. So this for the warning, and maybe this also the reason why I only know a few ones who really can do. But the key is, if you do in a several lives this kind of work, and if you are exercising on yourself, on your energy body, and if you are able to, let me say, retune your energy, so to find a way to make your both energies more equal, then you get the chance to do exactly this. You just have to find a way how to not be like an oil drop in a water. You have to try to find a way to adjust your energy frequency to be able to do contact, to be able to interact without destroying your own energy structure. So, but on this way said, whatever you do with your energy body, it is a kind of library, and every work you do is impacting your energy. And I would even go this far: if you once in the future die, and if you are becoming reborn, if you believe in this, um, your energy body will still carry every mark of every work you did. So it is basically like a library. So every travel you would do would be a connection to it. So there is another way how to get into contact to older energies to learn. As said, the energy matrix as a library. One could say, okay, I'm very comfort with my life, and I'm happy if I just do my 24/7 daily business, and if I get me a new whatever iPod and I'm just material on this plane, okay, then you don't need it. But then all my telling will not help you further. On the other way, if you are really on your way to learn to use your skills, so to be more empathic, to be able to see things beyond our shell, so to say, this non-material entities and existences, um, then you can do it on your own way by several lives of practicing, of yoga, of maybe shamanic rituals, just by, for example, painting. If you are a painter and you do many years of painting, you get access to your own consciousness. But then you're just getting out of your dark, your inner entity to express into the material world. To unfold it, you again would need an entity at your side to teach you up to another level. So, being this said, there are religions who are speaking of, for example, a guardian angel. In this way, it's mostly a passive cooperation, a passive allyship. The one who is protected by this entity usually doesn't communicate with this angel, um, and this one nearly takes it as a given thing that this guardian angel is protecting and from harm or from things happening around, and is supporting on their lives and so on. But I never did hear somebody who said, okay, now he did a really cool job and here you get some offering. I never did hear this. Um, I am very, very sure about that nothing ever is for free. I mean, it starts that you have to eat something, whatever it is. If it is a piece of a cow, or if it is a piece of a green stuff, whatever, but you need to eat something. So you have to take something in order to stay alive. And same is about if you help somebody or if you support somebody, so you are giving away something, it is a natural fact that something is coming back. Either it is the entity within, which will help the other one to get further on his way, or it is in a very mundane plane, very mundane way, that you, for example, support a work colleague and he in exchange brings you coffee the next day, for example. So it's very common to not just take things for given, but rather to give an exchange about. And this is why I do this channel as well. I'm pretty sure that many of you can relate to my personal experiences, because I'm not nothing special. I'm not a unicorn. I'm I'm just one who is talking about things I see and things I know. And I'm pretty sure many of you did experience alike things. And maybe you did doubt about as I did. And so if I tell my story, you probably will find points where you say, oh wow, I thought it was just imagination, and now she's talking about exactly that. So in this case, I am a little hand support in your confidence about your path. And I leave it open to you, but you will find your own keys within my sharings. So, why should we work with allies? We we can sometimes we have no choice. There are stories about obsessions, and some of them are very close to reality, some are just to frighten people. Close to reality is if you do a shamanic ritual. You might be obsessed by an entity which is teaching you about how the world is constructed, how you are constructed, what things are blocking you, how you can overwind these blocks. And this is a kind of a teaching or medical treat you can use when you do a shamanic ritual. When you are born with an entity, there are two options. What can be the reason? In Indian culture, there are the so-called devas who sometimes take over human. It's basically a god or goddess occupying a human body, but not in a way that this person becomes totally unconscious and this god or goddess is doing its way with your body. It's more like I'm searching for the word. It's Swedish, bofellowship. Um, it's if you have one flat and you share the rent with several people, everyone gets one room, but basically the flat is all yours, all yours together. And same is about the body. If you are born with an entity that supports you on your way, then you are totally conscious, and this entity also is totally conscious, and it will teach on you all your life. Question is if you can see it, and sometimes it takes years. In my case, it was not before 2017 until I got her name and until I started to research her roots, and she is who I call my muse. So you could say it's obsessed. But I see it in another way. It is a kind of you have knowledge you couldn't have read before. You have skills in doing things which you never exercised on. And you know how to practice some things, as for especially astral travels or something, without any guardians before. This is what comes from these entities. They are maybe not speaking to you. This would be ridiculous if you all the time have a voice in your head talking to you. But it is more like inspiration. A good thing is if you, for example, are Googling, yeah, you search something and you're Googling, and you, let me say, you research for what pencil is best for making a scratch, for example, and you just read a note, and then there is one word popping out, and it has nothing to do with this topic. And suddenly you see this word inspires you to dig into art, to find a certain name, and this name you find out he did write books, and then you find a book and you buy it and you read it, and suddenly in this book there is a key, something you did need to read. And there is no reason why this searching for a perfect pencil should be leading to reading a book from a specific person. But if you have an entity within you, then maybe it already knew about. And so you get inspired to walk a certain direction of recognizing things And if you dare to follow this track, it leads you to one key, to the next key, to the next key. So this is how I feel her. My first book was Her Feather. I was writing something simple said, and I thought it was just a diary note, you know, magical diary, a note, an inspiration you just scribble down. But when I was scribbling down this note, it became longer. And then I thought, okay, could be a Facebook post. But it became even longer. And so I thought, okay, maybe there is just an article growing. Cool. But it became even longer. And then I suddenly faced myself having written an entire book in a row, not in one night, of course, but I really did sit down, and I did not even think about what I was going to write down. I was just reading the last lines of what I wrote yesterday. I placed my pen on the paper, and then I was scribbling down for 2-3 hours whatsoever. And in the end, there was a book. And when I was reading this book, I could clearly see a line. I could see that it has a start and a beginning, and it casts into some questions which are answered in the end, and it has a construct. I think that this fits the best word. It has a construct. And I did not even know that I was writing a book. Not even to think about that. If you want to tell a story, you need a construction somehow. You should at least know what you are writing about. But this was not the case. One could say it was automatic writing. So in this case, the book Fire was created through her, and I just gave her the space to inspire me to put the words onto the paper. And I did write it in German at first. So when I was done with this, I did want to translate it into English. So I would have had the possibility to just call a brother and ask, hey, would you translate this into English for me? Maybe this would have been an easy way, but I wanted to make sure that the energy she rose in this book keeps exactly as it is. It was a certain kind of an energy stream in this book, and I wanted to make sure the stream stays alive as it is. And even today, it was published in a limited version, one for 111 books. I show you this because I picked it out for you to show. I got it in one way as a hardcover version, and that was 111 books. Let me unpack here. It was this one. Yeah, now you can't see. Now you can see. And I'm really proud of it, that it came into being. And there was another version in a leather bound shape, and this only was made in 22 pieces. So there are but a few existing left. I will also show you this beauty. This is this one, and it also has some of my cards inside. And let me just open here, and you see it's a limited version. So Fire, Magma Primal, The Fire of the Dragon was published at Sirius Limited, and it became published there because I asked my brother where to publish this book, because I really didn't know. And when he did proofread it, he just said, okay, come here, I publish it. So this is how it came into being. I will make sure to make a ebook, and I will maybe in a few years I will make a paperback version as well. But however, this is what an entity can trigger you to do as for expression of the knowledge which has no name, which has no words. And you can see a collaboration with an entity or an allyship with an entity also in a very mundane way. For example, if you work with an entity to make sure you get a stable life, or to make sure you get a stable health, both physically and mentally, and also to expand your skills, as said, because if you intend to really travel out the astral, to travel out other other planes and other dimensions, you should have a teacher who was already there. It's like traveling in a cave, or like climbing a mountain. It is good if you have a guide on your side who already did this way. So you can have strong brothers and sisters at your side, or you can have strong entities at your side who are willing to teach you up on that. And it is a kind of self-liberation. While you are in your shell, you are learning what exactly you are in your shell. So when you die, for example, and this energy structure is set free, then in normal case, if you think in a rebirth, in a normal case, you would be born in a next body. If you get for this heaven and hell religions, then it would be depending on your believing system if you go to hell or if you rise to heaven. But if you are conscious about your own existence, you are basically able to manifest a kind of memory. And this memory will give you the opportunity to choose. It is like a burning karma to get into a good rebirth, or it is about choosing on which plane you want to travel on. Because basically, I told it several times, but I do it again. This is just a car. I can I can decide if I want to get this human shell again, if I would be happy to be reborn as a firefly, or if I want to leave this plane somewhere where I don't even need a shell, or maybe I become a creator. But this is a far out topic. Maybe when the current book I'm writing on, maybe I pick it up again, this topic. But so back to the roots. You can work with entities in plenty ways, and commonly if you take them into your body, so not just invoking them as for making a circle, making a triangle and invoke this entity therein. um, this is to get information, but you also have the possibility to invoke, not to evoke. And if you invoke an entity, basically this energies merge in your body for this for this time being. And so it will learn from you, and you will learn from this entity. You have something these entities don't have, and this is matter, a matter body. I know if you're sick, it sucks, but if you just see the opportunity of physical sensation, and we are learning for non-physical sensation, so it's a win-win. And so you can choose to have an ally at your side. You can be born with an ally at your side. I forgot one point. Sometimes you got an ally because you already had this ally in another life before. This can also be that you're already one entity, one energy field containing two entities. So this is another option why you're born with an entity. Or on the other side, if you do rituals, you can invoke or evoke entities. So it could be seen as an obsession if you are two beings united in one body. But when they say he did kill somebody because he was forced by a demon, sorry, no, bullshit. A murder is a murder because he is a murderer, and not because an entity inspiring him to kill. And but it is a very welcome horror story to tell people, if you are obsessed by an entity, it will overtake you and make you things you don't want. That's bullshit. It can trigger you to do things. As in my case, she was triggering me to write this book, and I can even trigger her to trigger me, but maybe I explain another time, because this goes back and forth. It's never a one-way ticket. Also, if you sometimes see people who are working with Belial, Belial has very nice aspects to girls, but to boys he sometimes is a little, he tends to trigger to criminal tendencies, or to, no, let me see, let me tell it in another way. Belial itself, he loves to tear down borders, and this is both in sexual way and society way, and in social connections. And so you can learn very much from Belial. But if you are digging too deep into, it might be that you're inspired to do quite a bunch of bullshit, and you are the one who will take the bill from society, because it is mostly to crash the borders of the social frames you're born in. While if you make it to learn from this you are taught, you can grow on it. So even this, I would never say you're obsessed by something and you're totally out of control and he or she is making you doing something. No, making you doing something is always you. You can be inspired to do one or the other thing, but this does not unchain you from thinking, from reflecting about yourself. And if you don't do, yeah, I mean, if I say open your window and jump out, and you open the window and jump out, then maybe I am the one who inspired you, but you're the stupid who did open the window to jump out. So this, just for a heads up when it comes to evil demon influencing, and uh, no, they are higher entities, they are teaching. So this being said, I don't care if people say there is a spirit, or there is a demon, or there is a guardian angel, or there's a Fukia guarding your way, your family. I don't care. In all cases, and this is because I started that late with my occult work, I met many of these entities before I knew their name. And as for my opinion, all of them you can learn from, despite from every human you can learn. So it only depends on how do I handle this person or entity, and do I give the right respect to this person? Do I respect myself? And how do I get into contact? And this is the balance, what makes it either fruitful or destructive for you. But in basic, these entities are not up to harm on you. They are up to learn from you. And in that point, they share knowledge. And I will come to another point later. It's about energy merging. Even if this entity didn't intend to teach you, if you allow merging of energy, um, your energy body is directly studying the library of the other entity, while its energy is studying your library. So it's really an interesting topic to work with. And on human mind, you maybe will not even be conscious about what you did learn. And if you then start into going into arts, as for music, as for paintings, as for automatic writings and so on, then suddenly you will express things which you are not conscious about, but what you did teach, what you did learn from this teaching entities. So obsessed, yippee, indeed. And I would never change it back. I wish you a wonderful day or night, and keep up the horns.